here we go, let's head in and let's choose our first two actions for the first round of the game. I'm going to start with something simple. I'm going to start with Explore. Now I've already told you there's two types of Explore. And normally when you choose the Explore action, you would get to draw two cards, keep one, discard the other. And if I choose the Explore action, then that's what your opponent would do. But there's two types of Explore, and each one gives you a different bonus if you actually choose this action as opposed to your opponent choosing the action. The first one here, Explore +5, says you draw 5 more cards. So in effect you draw 7 cards and keep one. So you've got more to choose from. The second one is Explore +1/+1, and this one you draw an extra card and you keep one extra card. So effectively you draw 3 cards and you keep 2. That's the one I'm going to choose to play. And this is why I suggest using these cards, because it helps remind you exactly what it is you're doing. The next thing I'm going to choose to do is Develop. These two are identical. It just means I could potentially play 2 Develops for my 2 actions. Okay, so I'm going to choose to Explore and actually no, not Develop, Settle. Settle. Let's settle. Now we have to choose the actions for the robot player. The first thing we do is we take these 2 counters and we place them on these spots corresponding to the actions that we've chosen as a player. We chose to Explore, so we'll put one here, and then we chose to Settle, so we'll put one here. Okay, so from left to right, and what you're doing is using these counters instead of your action cards. Now the reason why they are important is because if we roll a star, when we roll for the AI's 2 actions, it copies what we do from right to left. So if we roll a star, it will choose to do a Settle action. If we roll 2 stars, it would do a Settle and an Explore. Alright, so let's roll the dice. Here's my little dice tray. Okay. We've got a Produce and a Settle. So we'll place these dice like so. Okay, now we can start resolving actions, and the first action, and we always do it in numerical order, 1 through to 5. Okay, so the first action is that we Explore, and we always execute our action before the robots. Because we got the bonus, we get to draw 1 more card and keep 1 more card. Right, and that's what this iconography means. So in phase 1, we get +1 look, +1 draw. Okay. So in the top right you can see it's we draw 2 +1, we keep 1 +1. Right, pretty simple really. Now in addition, if we look at our start world, which is Doomed World, it has an ability on phase 1, the Explore. We get to look at 1 additional card. So although regular is draw 3, keep 2, we're actually going to draw 4. It's +1, keep 2. So let's go ahead and do that. So we'll draw 3 cards, and then our bonus 1 from Doomed World, and we get to keep 2. Okay, I think I'm going to keep Terraforming Robots and Mining Conglomerate. Discard investment credits and Rebel minus. Okay. Now it's the robot's turn to explore. And you may say, well, he didn't choose to explore. Why is he exploring? Well, remember, each player chooses 2 actions, but both players execute all of the actions that are chosen. Alright, so we chose to explore, then both players will explore. It just so happens that we both chose to settle, so we'll both settle. And then the robot player chose to produce, so we'll both produce. The difference is that only the person who chose that action will get the bonus that's written on that player action card. Alright, so yeah, we got the bonus, we got to draw 3 and keep 2. If our opponent was a regular player, he would now just draw 2, keep 1. But he's not a regular opponent, he's a robot, so we just follow this track down and we execute whatever is written here. And you can see there's a top and a bottom. If the robot player chose this action, he would do the top bit of logic. If he's only taking this action in response to us choosing it, which in this case he is, he only does the bottom bit. And in this case, the bottom bit's got this little hand pulling a card with a number 3 on it. The robot player draws 3 cards. So we'll grab 3 cards, keep them face down, 1, 2, 3, and we place them on top of their draw deck. Remember, the robot player doesn't have a hand, he only has this draw deck. So when we draw cards, we place them here. Okay, next, neither of us chose phase 2, the develop phase, so we skip this one and then settle. We both chose settle. So what that means is we're going to do our settle action as per usual, and because we chose it, we get the bonus on the card. And the robot, who also chose it, is not going to do the bottom logic, he's going to do the top logic, because he actually chose this action. Right? But it's always us first, so let's go and do our settle. So we're settling, and the settle bonus for playing is draw a card after placing a world. Okay? That's what this icon represents. During phase 3, after settling a world, draw 1 card. And the world I want to settle into my tableau is Prosperous World, I think, and I'm going to pay for it with 3 cards. I'm going to use Public Works, Mining Conglomerate and Deficit Spending, so we'll discard 3 cards and we'll place Prosperous World. Remember, there's the cost, 3 cards. So now I've got 2 cards in my tableau. Okay, and because I've settled, I draw a card as my bonus. I got Interstellar Bank. That's quite nice. Doom World also has a special on phase 3 for settling. It says I can discard this card from my tableau to place a world at 0 cost. Alright, I'm not going to do that just yet because I want to do that on an expensive one if I can. So I'm going to keep Doom World for now, and I'll keep using his Explore bonus for the time being. Let's see what the robot does. So the robot, he chose this action, so it's the top part. He gets to draw a card, and what this icon means is he searches until he finds a military world. So let's do this one at a time. This is 3 cards. Draw 3 cards first. 1, 2, 3. And now we'll do this part. There's 2 types of worlds. If we skip back to the discard pile, I can show you one of them. Rebel Miners is one of those ones that I discarded. Let's compare it to Prosperous World, what I just played. The cost to play Prosperous World was the number of cards, right? They call that wealth in the game. The number of cards that we need to discard to pay for it, and I discarded 3 cards. Rebel Miners, however, is called a military world, and we don't pay for it with cards, we pay for it with military might. In the moment we don't have any military might. But if we look at a card like Dropships, if we played this development, see this number here, +3 in red, that means we would have this, if we have this development in our tableau, it would give us 3 military might. And what that means is we could, with Dropships in our tableau, pay for any military world with a cost of 3 or less, because it gives us 3 might. Okay, military might. So we could have paid for Rebel Miners because it only costs 2 military might. Alright, so you're using your military might from worlds and developments in your tableau to pay for these things. You don't actually have to discard any cards. Okay, so those are the 2 types. Pay with cards, pay with military might. This arrow here then means search through our draw deck until we find a settlement that has a military cost. A military world. So we're going to search through the robots draw deck until we find a military world. Okay, you notice that Separatist Colony is kind of a military world, that's why it brang. I brought that logic to the table. So we'll just keep drawing these. Anything that's not a military world just gets discarded. Okay, Rebel Sympathizers is a military world, so we stop. Okay, we found a military world, we stop, and we place this in the robots tableau. This is the robots tableau on top of their start world. The artist colony that we drew, that goes to the discard pile. And that's it, okay? So you can see that this is kind of reflects the robots tableau. None of these things take effect, it's just a stack of cards with victory points. So at the moment they've got 1, 2, 2 victory points. And we have 2 plus -1, we've got 1 victory point. Doom World is -1 victory point, nasty. And that's it, that's the settlement action done for the robot. So now we keep going to the right until we hit the production phase. And although I didn't choose the production action, I still get to execute the production phase. Both players do. If I had chose the production phase, then I would be looking at the bonus on this card and taking that bonus. But I didn't choose it, I don't get any bonus. So all I need to do during the production phase is look through the stuff in my tableau and look for any abilities on phase 5. These are the only things that are going to happen for me during phase 5. Anything that's written on cards in my tableau. There's nothing on Doom World. But for Prosperous World we have this blue card printed. And what that means is we're going to produce a blue resource, what we call a blue good. Now blue, as it goes, actually if we look at the card summary, we can see that this is what it does. In the 5 produce phase, you see this card produce a good. There's 4 types of good. They're summarised here. Blue is novelty, brown is rare elements, green genes, and yellow alien technology. Blue are the cheapest kind of good. Okay, so what we're going to do is produce 1 novelty good on this world. Okay, so how do we place a good on this world? A good is represented by a card. We just grab one from the big draw stack and we keep it face down because the front of it doesn't mean anything. If it's placed on here, then it's a good. Okay, so we attach it to the world. We know the colour of that good because it corresponds to the colour of the world. Right, this is a blue world. That means it produces novelty goods. Any cards face down attached to here represent novelty goods. That's it, we're done. That's the produce phase. Now what about the robot? He chose this action, so it's the top part. If I had chosen produce and he hadn't, he would do nothing. That's what this blank means. But here it says we're going to move the economy size marker up 1 to the right. So what we're going to do is grab this token and move it up from 0 to 1. This is going to be relevant because if he ever chooses to consume, then it's going to look at this track and see what value is represented. Alright, so every time he produces, he moves this thing up. Basically, his engine to consume is getting bigger. And that's it. We've completed the first round of Race for the Galaxy. So we can reset these things back to the beginning, grab the dice, and move to round 2.